Anytime, any day. Why not right now? Stop looking up to your boss and start being your own boss. Don't work for paychecks. Work for dreams with no regrets. This is Cracking the Entrepreneur Code. If you have the passion, we'll create the blueprint. Now, your host. You know him from his 7 tips to build the business you always wanted, and now you're about to hear a lot more. Jack H.M. Wong.
Welcome to the other episode of Cracking the Entrepreneur Code podcast. I'm your host, Jack Wong. So I so wish that I could have more time to talk about psychographics and demographics, but I want to shift the gear to a new topic. The reason why I want to do a new topic is because I just had 2 mentees sessions. Okay, I'm actually a mentor of National University of Singapore, NUS, and I've been doing this mentorship for the 2nd year. So it is a program whereby I would mentor selected candidates who are currently studying in NUS, National University of Singapore, for a period of 12 months. So I started this mentorship program as a mentor last year, and this is my 2nd year. And this year I'm able to mentor 2 young ladies. And one is a law student, the other one is an IT student. Okay, so I want to talk about my encounter with the 2nd mentee, who is the IT student, and she asked 2 very fantastic questions. I will see how much I can elaborate. If I need 2 episodes to deal with these 2 issues, by all means, I would do that. So I asked her the very first question. What do you expect in this 12 months from the mentor-mentees program? You see, I'm asking for expectation. It's like I treat the mentorship session as a business. I ask, what do you want? Do you reckon? Good. If you notice that this is the question asked, thank you. All right. So she said, okay, and she said, I want to look at a couple of areas. She talked about a very big word called personal development. Ooh, personal development. That's interesting because you and I may have different definition of personal development, isn't it? So she also wants to explore how to become a better leader. So I heard personal development, I heard leadership, and she also talked about how to interact with people. Now, obviously, in business, your clients may have a few problems that you can solve. Can I solve it? Yes, I can solve all, no problems. However, I asked this question, of all these 3 things that you've just mentioned, if there is only one you can choose and you have to get the other 2 out of the way, which one would you like to be solved first? So what I'm asking for, in business, you want to deal with your client by solving first problem. And the reason why you do that is basically to help your client to get the first win. Reason is that in marketing, in business, if you help your client to get your first win, your chances of getting the clients continuing engaging you would be very high. Like there's no point of helping your clients to solve a big problem, but your client basically couldn't experience a small win. I just learned from another expert that the reason why some coaches, consultants, some experts are very successful, they make millions of dollars very easily, is because they are able to help the client experience their win. So what I did was basically to help my mentee to experience the first win. So I gave the solution. I asked my mentee to experience something. It's a very powerful process. I finally got it. See, I'm still learning as of today, although I have been in business since 2011. All right, I'm still a learner, not a knower. Right? Okay, so coming back to this particular point, so I asked, so what is the first thing you would like to resolve? So to like to work with? So my mentee said, well, I would like to work on how to interact with people. There has been already 10 minutes in the conversation, and I have observed how she reacts based on how she looked at me, based on her body language, based on the whole package I call the non-verbal cue. So immediately I was like analyzing, and I said, well, first of all, a person who loves doing IT work, chances are is not a very people's person. Otherwise, the person may not be doing IT and do something else. I mean, my experience on IT professionals, they are very good at dealing with or interacting with the computers. Okay, sorry for generalizing here, but this is my experience, okay? All right. So the thing is that when she was speaking to me, I noticed that she was not paying attention. Also, her eyes are looking around. Felt distracted. Then I also noticed that she wasn't very comfortable. It's like, even though it's just like one-on-one conversation, I can feel that she is not comfortable. So no wonder that is the question. So I used the non-verbal cues that I received from her to sort of verify and validate, wow, this is really an issue that she wants to solve. All right. So that's why when you are asking questions, you don't ask questions for the sake of asking. You need to observe, you need to watch out for the clues, and the clues can come from two ways. How many ways? Two ways. One is exactly what she or he said, which is called the verbal cue. And the other one obviously is non-verbal cue, because communication, the success formula for communication is 93% of our communication is non-verbal. 7% represents by words. Okay, if you don't know about this, go and search. You will find the 93% and 7% formula. Okay, so I said, well, you know what? Imagine you are in a network situation where you have a group of strangers. You feel absolutely uncomfortable. So basically, I paint a picture for her, and I said, well, imagine you're in this scenario. Perhaps this scenario is what she had already experienced before. Otherwise, she would have asked that question. So I'm using a question by present tense, but basically it's direct her back to a memory recall. And I ask her, okay, imagine you're now in this situation where you have a group of strangers. You don't want to really talk to them, isn't it? So I said, well, the thing is, when you say to yourself you do not want to interact with them, you actually have given you a choice. So I analyzed for her. There are actually two choices or two options she can take. One is that she can choose not to talk to these people, or she can choose to talk to these people. So by having a choice on yourself, do you realize that you have the power to choose? A very big concept that I have learned since my early days on personal development. Human beings are human beings because they have the power of choice. So you know what? By helping her realize that she actually has choices, now it is her to decide. It is for her to decide whether she wants to talk to these people. So obviously, if she said, okay, I have decided not to talk to these people, there's nothing wrong with that, isn't it? However, if she makes the decision to talk to these people, that means she have exercises a choice, then the next thing will have to be done. So what is the next thing? So I asked her a couple of questions. So tell me, what do you like to watch? So she talked about like she like to watch some YouTube videos. So I asked specifically, like, what kind of YouTube videos or reality shows. She used the word reality shows. So I asked her until I got that, wow, she's actually talking about several shows that are being run in China. So I actually give her some of this show title to confirm these are the ones that, you know what, she is interested. So I asked her, where do you like to travel? And she talked about, I've been traveling around the region to Korea, and she's planning to fly to United States, specifically New York next year. So I was having a conversation with her. And at the end of the day, I deconstruct for her what this conversation is about. You know what? Our conversation is meant not to be a casual conversation, but it's actually intended as a teaching point. So I deconstructed with her why I'm asking those questions. Because the chances are, if you are so afraid of interacting with people, guess what? you are afraid of speaking the wrong words or coming out with the wrong words in the wrong context and make yourself or the other people feel bad. And that's the reason why you are fearful of not saying anything or afraid of saying something that is wrong. So what if you switch role by asking questions? Like, what do you do? What do you love to do during leisure hours? Where do you like to travel? You know what? I'm actually asking questions. And I fish for the information. If there's something I can contribute. Oh, I've been to the United States before. Wow, New York is a very, very far place. From Singapore to New York is literally 30 hours of flying time and transit time. So you know what? I am able to converse because I have experience on certain things. But how do I elaborate or elicit this experience? It is because I ask questions. So in the end, to cut the long story short, I told her the reason why people like us who are afraid of initiating conversation is we feel for ourselves of making mistake. What if you transcend from an information giver to a question, to a person who asks questions? Do you notice that by focusing on the other person, all the fear that you have already inside suddenly have disappeared? That's the beautiful thing, because you are not focused on yourself anymore. Instead, you are focusing on the other people. When you focus on the other people, wait for the clues to come back so that you know whether you can contribute and elaborate a conversation. If there's nothing can contribute, just continue having a conversation by asking questions. So at the end of the day, she felt, oh my God, that's really, really powerful, because she realized that having a conversation doesn't mean I have to contribute or initiate the conversation by myself. I can actually ask questions and get the clues and contribute if I have to. Obviously, the bottom line is that only if she make the choice of having the conversation. At the end of the day, it's all about your choice, isn't it? All right, so I noticed that it's already 12 minutes, and I think that the second learning lessons that I have with this mentee on leadership, I will go and do it in the next episode, because there's just so much I want to elaborate. And I hope that these lessons are useful, because treat this session as a business lesson, because everything I say can be translated into a valuable business lesson. I hope that you get it. If not, re-listen to this episode. I hope that you get something. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. And by the way, if you have friends, peers, colleagues who are not willing or who do not like to interact with people, maybe this episode is really for them, because that might change their life easily, okay? And make sure that they subscribe to my podcast show for future notification. Once again, thank you for listening. And Jack Wong here, I'm signing off. Be relentless and make sure you ask lots of questions. All right? See you soon. Bye.
To continue cracking the entrepreneur code, subscribe for more episodes and download the Amazon bestseller, Cracking the Entrepreneur Code, 7 Tips to Build the Business You Always Wanted, at crackingentrepreneur.com. Learn more about author and host Jack H.M. Wong and book your 30-minute discovery session to overcome any professional challenge at jackhmwong.com/apply.